Liar Satsuki is possibly one of my favorite Yuri manga, and I say possibly because there are Yuri elements in the manga, but I'm just so wary and suspicious of anything that isn't obviously Yuri. That and this manga isn't particularly a romance, but even if the Yuri really isn't here at all, it is still one of my favorite series to read through. If you've never heard of the series, just think of Final Destination, and basically we've got ourselves the plot. Our main character Satsuki is a girl who could see death, like a literal dead body, and usually that is one day before that person dies, and so she tries her hardest in order to save that people. And again, with the whole Final Destination thing, if you try to save someone from their certain death, then death will try to come back and fix everything. All in all, I really enjoyed the characters. I love our main character Satsuki, who is labeled as a liar because she can't tell a lie, which is quite ironic, but people call her a liar since she is able to see death and she can't lie, so she will always tell the person that they're going to die. And, usually something like that isn't really going to go well with the person who's being told that they're going to die the next day. For the other characters who appear frequently, such as Komachi, Shiina, Akira, and Sensei, I think currently we only know him as Sensei, the teacher, since I haven't really heard people say his last name yet, or at the very least, if they have, I probably just missed it. Either way, the supporting casts are all great. All of them have their own little flaws and issues that they have, and I just really enjoy it, and I love Shiina. If you guys have read this, you will know why I love Shiina, and if you haven't read it and you meet Shiina, you will most likely know why I love her. The manga does get dark, consider that this is death that we are talking about, but the comedy that accompanies it to make it a little bit lighter is very enjoyable, and I really like the way that they do it with Satsuki, since again, Satsuki can't say a lie, so she will just say what is needed to be said, even if she shouldn't be. I really enjoy the art of this series, and I do like the character design of Satsuki, who is quite the tall girl. She's quite the tall and strong girl, and we can see that she's got that figure from her dad, who is like, I don't know how tall they are, but I assume he's probably like somewhere above 6 feet. There's also some scenes that I feel like aren't comedic, but I have some sort of sick enjoyment out of them just because I just find it really funny, and I'll talk more about it in the spoiler arena. Speaking of the spoiler arena, I am going to be heading into it. If you guys have not read this yet, I highly recommend you do. It's a fun ride, for me at least, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. But, other than that, let us head on over to the spoiler arena. What happened to this bookshelf? Last time I remember, it was like, it was right here, and things were nice, but then suddenly, there's just this whole pile of manga here, and then there's another one right down there, and don't even get me started that I still haven't put Bokuyaba up somewhere, so I don't know, I'm starting to run out of space again. I have too much manga. Too much Yuri manga anyways. Anyways, the real villain of the series is Komachi, and we all know it since chapter 2. She's been extra sus lately though, especially after what happened in the latest chapter, chapter 44, like, oh my god. Honestly, dude, Satsuki is just on a constant denial with Komachi right now, despite Komachi being, like, extra sus. I didn't want to talk about the latest chapter already, but, like, consider the fact that you were hanging off the ledge, Satsuki, and Komachi's over here like, oh, you need help, do you? Don't worry, dying is scary, but I'll help you through it. And she's just over here like gingerly putting her hand under Satsuki's fingers, so then she could just toss her off. And Satsuki's over here like, oh, I don't know. Maybe Komachi was just trying to hold my hand, you know? I'm just over here like, alright. She literally just said, dying is scary, right? I'll help you with it. And she fell because of you. But also, the fact that Akira, she probably didn't see it. That's my only guess. Like, she didn't realize that... She didn't realize that Komachi was, like, you know, releasing Satsuki's fingers. But Akira was there to grab Satsuki before she fell to her death. But man, Komachi, she was the first girl that Satsuki saved, and she was the first girl who became Satsuki's friend. So it's understandable that Satsuki would be in this denial, and of course Satsuki herself is such a nice and forgiving person. You know, she gets bullied a bit when there was that time, I forgot who she was trying to save, but she was running upstairs and she was trying to tell these 3 girls to get out of the way, but Seo, one of the girl, decided to trip her, and Satsuki is just kind of like, whatever, you know, I sprained my ankle, but like, whatever. She doesn't really, I mean, she still know that Seo was the one who tripped her and all that, but she doesn't really hold a grudge. I think that's what I was trying to say. Speaking of Seo, Komachi is lucky that Seo currently has amnesia at the moment, because we all know Komachi is the one who took her to that room filled with carbon monoxide, I think that's what I was trying to say. You know, we all know that Komachi's the one who took her there, and she's lucky that Seo has amnesia, or else when she woken up, she would have just been like, yeah, Komachi was the one who led me there. She's the true evil. We should have let her die in the first chapter. Just say. Other than Komachi being the real villain this whole time, I am interested to see why she is the way that she is. And she had this talk with Satsuki, where Satsuki said like, yo dog, why did you say that to me in the bathroom with the scene between her and Shino? And Komachi's just kind of like, I'm not good with people worrying about me. And she's like, she says, people worrying is like a gift, and she doesn't know what to do with that gift. And when I saw that, I was doing a little reread, but when I read that again, I was thinking to myself, is she a sociopath? I don't know, but Jesus Christ, dude, she gets bullied by Shiina. The reason why she gets bullied by Shiina is because she doesn't really give a normal reaction as to someone who gets bullied, and that's why Shiina continues to bully her. Going back to the bathroom, or technically the restroom scene, I assume Shiina was going to hit Komachi with the broom, but Komachi's over like, well, if you hit me, I'm gonna get bruises, and people are gonna question and consider that she's on the student council as well with, you know, our lovely student president Kai and Sayoko, who are, I mean, they're currently the antagonists of this series right now, but again, Komachi is the real villain, and super sus this girl. We need to get her away from us. But when Komachi hears that Shiina was only going to hit her in the spots that she can cover with her clothes, she's just kind of like, okay, yeah, sure, fucking beat me. Well, we'll see who's the winner, huh? So, kind of makes me wonder if Komachi does have like an abusive family or anything like that, where she just kind of take these punishments sometimes with a smile, which is the reason why Shiina is so freaked out by Komachi in the first place. You know, that's why Shiina continues to bully her, because she feels like something is off with Komachi. But I feel like in that bathroom scene, it feels like Shiina kind of gets off a little bit on bullying Komachi, but I don't know. But enough about Komachi, and let's talk about Shiina and why I love this character. Again, when you read her, obviously she's supposed to be this unlikable girl. Even Satsuki didn't like her at first, and she still kind of doesn't, but she sees a more good side to her, and Shiina sort of teaches Satsuki a little bit about, like, friendship and all that, you know, to where there was this scene where Shiina is just talking shit about her friends, and Satsuki is just kind of like, you guys are friends, why are you talking shit about her? Why are you guys talking shit about each other? When Shiina says that, you know, well, we talk shit about each other all the time, and the reason why we're talking about it behind their backs is because, well, you know, they don't hear it, their feelings don't get hurt. So, you know, it's just what we do, we're friends. And even though some gooder part in me feel like Satsuki, where it feels wrong, you know, you shouldn't be saying that to your friends, I understand where Shiina's coming from, but Shiina, again, gives Satsuki a nice message saying, you can still be friends even if there's a part of that person you don't like. You know, just because there's one part of that person you don't like doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them, unless, you know, that one part hurts you or the people around you, then it's understandable. But I get what Shiina is saying. Why did I started talking about this whole message thing between Shiina? I guess I just wanted to paint her a little bit in a nicer light, even though she's the one who's been bullying Komachi for like the first 30-ish chapters before she got targeted again for the third time. And speaking of the third time, that's the reason why I like Shiina. She just keeps getting dunked on. She's the second girl Satsuki saved after Komachi. And how does she ends up saving Shiina? I was supposed to say Akira for a second there. Satsuki invites Shiina to the pool, pushes her into the pool, dunk her into the pool, and then made her all fearful and shit, and she just fainted. So then Satsuki can be over here like, alright, I'm just gonna cut my hand and I'm gonna pour blood all over her. Because Shiina was going to die of a, I forgot what it was, it's sort of like a hemorrhage where she was bleeding internally, but she didn't really know about it until it was going to be too late. So Satsuki's plan was to get her taken into the hospital so then they could do that checkup on her. And then the next time she comes back, she ends up getting targeted by this girl Michiru, who is a student council trainee, which is something we have to make sure of because Komachi is also a part of the student council, and the student council has Kai and Sayako, who are our current antagonists. So basically, if anybody's in the student council, they're most likely the bad guy. But we have Michiru, who is in love with Shiina because Shiina was nice to her once. Of course, you know? And since she likes Shiina, I assume she followed her to the whole pool scene, and when she saw Shiina getting dunked on, that was when she realized that she is in love with Sheena's dunked on face. You know, the face of her fearing for her life, that gets Michiru really riled up. And so because of that, our next death for Shiina was her getting set ablaze, essentially. There's also that thing about the salad oil where Michiru had brought salad oil and poured it all over Shiina and just lighting matches on her just as a way to get her to fear for her life, because she just like, haha, I really like it when you when you're fearing for your life, gets me really turned on. We find out that the salad oil isn't actually salad oil, because if it was salad oil, she wouldn't really get burned or anything, but it was replaced for a more flammable oil. And if the match had actually touched Shiina, she would have burned to death. But Michiru herself didn't realize that this was what was going on. And so I can only assume that perhaps Kai and Sayako, you know, they might have had their hands. I don't know why I keep saying Kai and Sayako. I mean, they are sort of like a pairing at this point. I have that feeling that it was them who swapped it over, but at the same time, I don't trust Komachi. I don't trust her one bit, even though it's most likely Kai, but I don't trust Komachi. And with her second death evaded, she ends up having her third potential death via poison, which is just fan-fucking-tastic, you know? And throughout this whole thing, right? Throughout this whole thing, Satsuki is just over here like, should I save her? She's scum. But like, should I still save her anyways? In the second part, when Akira was there, Akira's just over here like, look, if she dies, like, I feel like the world's probably gonna be a better place. The same argument went with Kai as well, when Kai himself said that Shiina is irredeemable. You know, she's been bullying Komachi this whole time, and she just won't stop even after getting warned about it and all that jazz. So, what's the point in keeping her alive? But Satsuki, she has her own guilt, her overwhelming guilt, and perhaps that's because she allowed her mother to die even though she's the one who saw it. And again, that's probably why she has that guilt, and because of that guilt, she said that she would rather people call her a liar than to let someone die. And even if that person is evil, she would still save them. And I'm a little everywhere, but this is a spoiler arena and this is a bad rambling, so the message between Kai and Satsuki, albeit it's a little bit of Akira and Shiina as well on Kai's side, which is, if they're scum of the earth, if they're people you don't know, why save them? You know, who gives a shit about these people? And Satsuki is on the side of nobody deserves to die. So she's kind of like, in terms of Elden Ring, you know, she's the one who would rather steal destined death. And you know what? If I was younger, and probably back in high school, I would have agreed with Kai, but as I've grown older, I've realized that it's just better to make the bad people suffer the consequences and live with it. Other than the guilt of not saving her mom when she could have, she's been trying to save people as a way to get an approval of her father, or redeem herself in front of her father, since her dad is a doctor, which is also a nice little connection onto why Satsuki understands all of this like anatomy shit and like science shit as well, other than the fact that she goes to the science teacher to ask about it. Going back to Shiina, even if she is somewhat of an unlikable character, she is currently the only person in Satsuki's group who sees Komachi for the real girl that she is, a suspicious person. But Shiina, for some fucking reason, is over here like, this girl acts very different from everyone else. You know, she's getting bullied, but like she's just taking it like it's nothing. She's just smiling about it. I should bully her some more. And I don't know, Shiina. This is the reason why you had like potential death like 3 times at this point. Well, the first one was just her freaking hitting the back of her head, but the other 2, okay, just the third potential death, consider that the second one is Michiru, but that third death at least was targeted, so I don't know about you, but if I was a bully and I was bullying someone and they just took it like a champ and they're smiling at me about it too, I'm not gonna mess with them. Like, this is literally Shiina poking at a goddamn tiger who is not in a cage at all. Well, we've seen her potential. You know, she's out here trying to fucking get Satsuki to just slip off and fall down and die in chapter 44. And then we saw possibly her, you know, it looks like it, the girl who sailed into that room with the carbon monoxide in the first place. We've also seen Komachi lie in front of Satsuki, where Shiina tried to invite Satsuki out, but Satsuki, you know, doesn't like Komachi, and consider her true honesty, her honest personality. She shows that she just doesn't like Shiina, and I really appreciate Satsuki. I like blunt and honest characters, which is probably why I enjoy the series so much, with Satsuki, Shiina, and Akira. I haven't talked much of Akira yet, but we'll get to her in a bit. And Shiina, I mean, she lies, but when she's with Satsuki, she is willing to say the blunt truth, and I really enjoy it, you know? That's why I like Satsuki, that's why I like Shiina, that's why I like Akira. Akira, especially when she's paired up with Satsuki. These two pairing, fucking good shit, dude. I'm expecting more out of them. And consider what we saw in the arc before Clash, which is like from chapter 40 to 44, I think. Before we had seen that, we had seen a trouble that is brewing with Akira. Why am I segueing to Akira right now? I feel like I haven't finished saying what I wanted to say, but I guess I'll just write in the description if I forgot to say what I wanted. But Akira, when she was first introduced, well, actually, not her first introduction, but like her second appearance, I really enjoyed that. When Satsuki and Akira first met, and then Satsuki had to go and bring the homework or something to Akira's house, and she saw her dad, and she saw her dad's dead body just laying in the front door. She tells Akira about it, and Akira's just over like, huh, alright, you know, you're telling me that my dad's going to die? Alright, come on over to my apartment and tell me the details of this. And so Satsuki's over here looking at the body like, I think he's going to die by blunt trauma. And so Akira's just over here like, yeah, no fucking shit. And so she just grabs a bat from under the dresser or whatever it was, and she just starts swinging at Satsuki. And then Akira was like, this is what happens when you tell the killer how the victim is going to die. Which, by the way, despite Akira getting the upper hand on Satsuki and just basically choking her, she ends up not killing Satsuki, which I would only assume it's because she doesn't really hold much grudge for Satsuki. But consider that the dad's body was there, it meant that Akira was just, she was really about to commit murder, which is just fan-fucking-tastic. And we did get to learn about why she was doing it in the first place, and it's because her dad's a fucking asshole. Simple as that. But after that incident, Akira ends up playing as Satsuki's partner, since she is the person who believes in Satsuki, and Satsuki just feels ever so grateful knowing that someone believes in her and is able to help her out. And I really enjoy, again, I really enjoyed their partnership. We had a nice scene of them in like chapter 15 and 16 maybe. That was when Akira decided to stay over with Satsuki for her birthday. We had a bit of a Yuri feel during that time, which is just fantastic. Can't wait for more of those. We did have a bit of that scene with Komachi as well, which I kind of like, but at the same time, again, Komachi, super sus, can't trust her at all. But that scene with Satsuki and Komachi in the locker room, pretty nice. Satsuki and Akira are both blunt in their own ways, and when they are together, it is just pure comedy gold. I really enjoy it. Just like that one scene when Akira went to the doctor's office in the school, or the nurse's office, I think that's what it is. There's no doctor at the school. But she went to the nurse's office to take a rest, and Satsuki just comes in like, hey, I'm here for Akira, who's pretending to be sick. And so she just ended up getting Akira kicked out of the room. It's fantastic. Again, I love the comedy that goes from Satsuki's inability to lie, but also she has the inability to detect a lie. Satsuki can't tell a lie, so much so that when she said to Sensei in chapter 44 that she was going to jump off the roof, she was like, yeah, I can't lie. Yeah, I can't lie. So when I said I'm gonna jump off, I will. So she does. She jumps off the roof. Which is just a fan-fucking-tastic, dude. Really gotta stay true to herself. Okay, I mentioned chapter 15, and this relates to the part where I feel like it shouldn't be Komako, but I had a great time just because I was thinking about the perspective of the cop that was in chapter 15. And just to set up the scene, Satsuki and Akira were trying to save this girl, Satomi. They initially thought perhaps this was a poison or something, but they eventually realized Satomi was actually trying to commit suicide. So they end up saving her at the train station where she was going to jump in front of the trains. And so they end up in the I would say the interrogation room, I guess, for the cop. And the cop is like, so I called both of your parents. And Satsuki's just over like, whoa, hold on, you called my dad? Oh my god. And so her dad comes in, right? Her dad comes in, he sees her. What the first thing he does? He manhandles her. He just grabs her by her fucking collar and just lifts her up like, what the fuck did you do now? And the cop is over here like, oh my god, what's going on? I just called this man in and he's just suddenly lifting his daughter up and saying like, what the fuck did you do now? And then Satomi's mom comes, right? And she listens to what had happened. She's like, so you were trying to kill yourself? That's a reasonable thing to do, you know? Consider the fact that you've been trying so hard and you haven't even improved your grades or gone even to the top 10 of the scores. Ugh, you make me so embarrassed that I could die, and I'm so glad that you now understand how I feel. What is the cop thinking during that time? He's just like, I just called your guys' parents. I'm like, what the fuck this is a giant fucking shit show. But wait, there's more. Satsuki's dad overhears this because the mom is just saying this out loud. And what does he do? He just goes up and slaps the shit out of Satomi's mom. Comedy gold, dude. This cop is just not having a good day. This is our first impression of him. He goes around beating women. I'm sure he's a great guy. But something has changed within him after Satsuki's mom's death. So, I don't know. We do learn from him slapping Satomi's mom that he is a doctor, and since he's a doctor, he values life greatly. And because of that, he gets mad at Satsuki for doing all of these dangerous things. And again, this ties into Satsuki's character and why she wants to save people. She wants to prove it to her dad that she can save people. Or she has saved people, whichever one. One final thing about chapter 44, with Kai saying, ever since Satsuki arrived to school, there has been a staggering amount of bodies, you know, feels like there's been more death ongoing, which again ties into the whole Final Destination shit. Satsuki saved Komachi, and because of that, this whole death shit is starting to get a little out of hand. There's been more deaths than usual, as what Kai had said, and that's why I say Komachi's the real villain. She should have died from that billboard. How dare she? But he also said that he doesn't really want to meddle in with these predictions, which is understandable, again, with the whole Final Destination shit. And with him saying that there's been more death than usual, you know, once you meddle in with death, when you're, when these destined death, these were their destined death, and Satsuki is just taking it away from them, you know, how dare she? So Death is just trying to fix things, or at the very least, if he hasn't gotten these people's souls, perhaps he will try to take it from other people's souls, as a way to balance the scale. I don't know what the scale is, but, you know, Death wants to balance it. And then there's the upcoming trouble with Akira, since we had this whole segment of Akira being gone for a while because she was visiting her mom for the first time ever. But we find that her dad is actually tracking her through her phone, I would assume, you know, he just has the "where's my phone" app on her. And perhaps Akira doesn't realize it, but he saw that Akira was out where his ex-wife was. I assume he knows where his ex-wife is. And we have seen that he is quite the creep and the asshole, where he gets mad at Satsuki for hanging out with her friends instead of coming home and celebrating her birthday with him. And also the fact that he tossed the cake on the ground and he's like, "Eat it! Eat the cake! It's on the ground, eat it!" And after Akira decided not to hang around at her house during her birthday, and when she came back, she found that there was cake just smushed in her dresser. What a fucking freak, maybe we should kill her. So I am interested to see what's going on with Akira's family troubles, but also I'm interested to see the perhaps the fatigue that Satsuki will eventually go through, consider that there's been more death, you know? Every time she saves someone, she's just like, whew, I feel relief, things are going well. And then she looks around, she sees a dead body, and she's just like, why? What the fuck? Come on, man. You know, I haven't fully talked about Kai or Sayako, albeit I feel like we haven't really learned much from Sayako. Kai has really been more of the dominant person in this pairing at the current moment. But we do learn from Kai that he has the same power, I would assume, as Satsuki. He sees dead bodies too, but instead of trying to save them, he just lets them die. He's just like, yeah, this is destined death. It's better to get rid of the bad people before they do bad things, because by the time you save someone, that person has already been hurt. So, you know, he wants to weed it out. He wants to go for the roots before it sprouts. I felt like I should have said he's going for the seeds before it starts to grow, but other than that, he's a good antagonist to Satsuki. You know, he has his own reasons on why he does the things that he does, but at the same time, he understands that if you mess with this, something bad might happen, you know, something even worse could happen. You never know, you might up saving this one person, but then the entire town dies. Life is strange. Well, that's the end of that. Let me know what you guys think about this series in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. If I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.